Okay, so today in class we talked about solving equations where there were variables on both sides of the equal sign. You copy down in your notes these these 4 steps. The first one, you're going to check to see if there's any distribution that you can do. Remember, when you're doing the distribution, you're only looking on each side of the equal sign. Okay, and when you distribute, you multiply. Watch out for those negatives. Be careful with those negatives when you're distributing. Step 2 is you're going to combine like terms by adding and subtracting the terms that are alike or that are in the same family. Again, you can only combine like terms that are on the same side of the equal sign. Remember, we talked about in class how you're not the Incredible Hulk. You cannot bust through those walls. So make sure that you only look on one side of the equal sign when you're checking for like terms to combine. The third step was the new one for today. You're going to remove the variable from one side. Remember, we didn't like the fact that there was a variable on each side of the equal sign, so let's remove it from one side. Now make sure you do it legally. That means you're either going to add or subtract that term with the variable in it from one side. And we said a good one to pick would be the smallest x, that the smallest coefficient of x. Okay, that would be a good one to remove. But if you choose to remove another one, that's okay, no problem. Okay, but first get rid of the variable on one side of the equal sign legally. And then finally, it's your aha moment. I know how to do it from here. Finish solving it out by doing your opposite operations. Okay, adding or subtracting the number and then dividing by the coefficient of the x. And then you will find your answer that you're looking for, the value for the variable. All right, so let's do an example. Oh, I see this is a little bit too high on the screen here, so let me fix that a second. There we go. Now you can see it all. Let me grab my pen back. There we go. Okay, I'm going to draw the wall down the equal sign first. Okay, and then I'm going to go through the checkpoints that we had. So if in your notes, and if you need to pause this while you go grab your notebooks, go ahead and do that. And anytime you need to pause to catch up or to work it on your own, for instance, if you want to work this one before I work it, hit pause now, work it, and then check your work. That's a great study tool. It's a great practice, a great exercise. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to check is to see if there's anything that I can distribute. And I know that there's not because there are no parentheses. Those are my clues. Parentheses are my clues that there's probably distribution going on. The second thing I'm going to look for is combining like terms. So if I look here on the left side of the equal sign, I have an x and a 3. I cannot combine them because they are not alike. Okay, this 3 doesn't have an x. So now I'm going to look on the right hand side of my equal sign. And I have a 7, negative 3x, and a positive 9x. Well, the positive 9x and the negative 3x are like terms because they both have an x, so I'm going to combine them. I'm not going to do anything with the 7, but a negative 3x plus 9x is a positive 6x. Remember, if the signs are different when adding or subtracting, you subtract them and keep the sign of the larger number. On the left-hand side, there was nothing I could do, so I'm just going to write those down. Okay, now I've done combining like terms, no distribution. Now I'm going to I see that I have a variable on both sides of the equal sign, so I'm going to get rid of 1. And this is my lowest one because it has a coefficient of 1. So by removing it legally, I'm going to do an opposite operation. So subtract x. So I'm going to subtract an x from this side. Notice how I line them up with other terms that are alike. This goes away. Then I have a 3 equals 7, and then a 6x minus x gives me a plus 5x. Alright, final step. This is my aha. I know how to solve this. I'm going to undo so I can isolate the x. 3 minus 7 is negative 4 equals 5x. And I know some of you are looking at this and going, oh, but it doesn't divide evenly. Yuck, I don't like it. It's okay. Okay, I can still divide. I'm still going to follow through with my steps. X equals negative 4 over 5. I'm just going to leave it as a fraction. If you would like to leave it, or like to do the decimal, it would be a negative 0.8. But if you want to leave it as a fraction, that's perfectly fine. Let's do one more example. All right, again, this is a little bit high, so let me go ahead and move it down for us. All right, if you want to work this on your own, that'd be good to work on your own before I do it, or push pause. All right, so let's check and see how you're doing with this. Let's draw the wall down the equal sign. I'm going to do my first check here, and I'm going to say, is there anything I can distribute? And there is, because I've got these parentheses here. So I'm going to distribute the 2 by multiplying it to the 4x, so that gives me an 8x. And then I have to distribute the 2 to the 3, and it's not just a regular 3, it's a negative 3. So 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, equals 4 minus 2x. No like terms here, no distribution. So now I'm going to look, I've taken care of the like terms, the distribution. And now I'm going to remove one of the x terms because I have x's on both sides of my equal sign. Negative 2 is the smallest coefficient because negative 2 is smaller than 8. So I'm going to add a 2x to both sides so that I can get rid of that negative 2 term. So those cancel out. That was an opposite operation. 4 equals, now I have 8x plus 2x, that's 10x, minus 6 equals 4. Oops, forgot the x. Now I'm at my moment where I know exactly what to do. I'm going to add 6 to both sides. Cancels that out. I'm left with 10x equals 10. Divide by the coefficient of x. Divide by the coefficient of x there too, so x equals 1. And I am all done.